Awesome. Um, Awesome. There we go. So, yeah, this is not the normal introduction, ladies and gentlemen, but that's all right. Again, wherever you may be, however you may be listening, me and Dean hope y'all are doing good. First and foremost, go to 247hawkeye.com. That's 247hawkeye.com. And in the video I did earlier this morning, just shooting the breeze, I don't really know where Twitter and Parler are going. I don't know how popular Twitter is anymore or what. I don't know if Parler's even around anymore. I don't really know. But I think I may be joining Twitch here soon. I think it's called Twitch for the 247hawkeye.com brand. But either way, the best place to follow me and Dean is Facebook, Nolan Hawkeye Anthony. And then Dean, it's
You're
Dean
right.
Frying.
I thought, never
correct,
you
Dean?
because I never have in my entire life corrected anybody.
Called Dean, and I heard his voicemail, and I was like, this whole time I've been calling him Dean Freen, and it's Dean Frine. I think I'm just going to do the Dean Freen, a.k.a. Dean Frine. But yeah, you can follow Dean on Facebook there and me on Nolan Hawkeye Anthony. That's the best place to get all of our stuff. And then Twitter and Parler at 247Hawkeye, and then Instagram at official247hawkeye.com page. And I don't know what I'm going to be doing there. Obviously, Instagram it's Instagram, it's YouTube, and it's Facebook. Those are the three most popular things. And Instagram, I have not fully gotten in, as I said in the last video, just chit-chatting. For me, it's either all the way in or I'm not in. I don't really have an in-between, and so I'm going to have to just fully immerse myself into Instagram here, and I'm not sure if we're going to be able to keep going with official 247hawkeye.com page. It may be too long. We'll figure that out, and then also you guys can follow us YouTube channel, Nolan Hawkeye Anthony. Just find us there. It's, I'm actually surprised how many views the video's gotten so far, and thank you guys so much.
I'm doing great.
Dean, how are you doing this morning, bud?
My daughter's patio in the back with the pool, but you guys can't see all that because I have to turn it face the sun. So if I look like my eyes are closed a little bit, it's because I'm facing directly into the sunlight.
Right. Beautiful. The pool is nice. It's starting to open up here. I went to Tahoe over the weekend. It was dang cold. I'm not gonna lie, Dean. It was cold down there. But it was beautiful. You've been there. It's just stunning. It's a great place to just kind of, I wouldn't say get away, but just kind of, yeah, it's a beautiful place. And, yeah, I don't know what else to say there. But Dean, before we get into everything here, I wanted to ask you something. Obviously, I've been going back and forth on going to the open practice and things like that because it's a far travel. I mean, it is. But I'm not going to lie, Dean. Part of me is starting to say, I think I could make that trip in under $300, give or take. Well, not under $300. Let's just say $300. I think I could make that trip. Also, I had an idea, and this, I think, I don't know. I think everybody would like this, but I remember, and I told this story, Dean. You'll see the video after we're done here. But I said that when I was younger and I went and visited my mom in Iowa, Dean, I literally almost stayed in Iowa because of how beautiful the girls are over there. And what's crazy is it's not like I lived in Timbuktu. I lived in California, where songs are written. There are songs written about the beauty of women here in California, but I think it would be a very fun type thing to interview female Iowa Hawkeye fans, and then obviously some really good-looking ones, maybe even Iowa State ones as well. interview the fans on the road. Like, let's say Iowa went and played Minnesota, I would ask the Minnesota guy what they thought about the Iowa Hawkeyes. And I don't know. I think it would get some traction. Dean, what do you think? What do you think on that? Do you think it's a little too risky or what?
Man, can I plead the fifth on this one?
Yeah, plead the fifth. Fair enough. Plead the fifth. It would be interesting content. I'll say that. I know it would be. It's just having the courage to follow through on things. Folks, that's 90% of life, following through on things. Honestly. But anyway, so yeah, Dean, that's a thought that's come through my mind, and I am leaning more towards going to that open practice, just because why not? But let's get
can we address the elephant in the room first, and then go to the open practice? Because I feel
no, not if I think I know what the elephant is.
I think we just need to talk about it first.
Enough.
Let's get it out of the way. And I got a couple of things I want to add to it that I heard this morning on a podcast I was listening to while I was showering, and I'd like to share what I heard today. Okay. All right.
Okay, go ahead. We'll be plugging another podcast on our podcast real quick with regards to what I'm guessing is the TJ Fredrick stuff. Go ahead.
We all know that it's not official yet, so supposedly it's still rumors that he's on. But there's been enough confirmed sources out there that he will enter the transfer portal today sometime. Okay, I learned this morning that.
Okay, I got to stop you. What are the confirmed sources? Because I think, Dean, that's where people are getting butthurt. I'm not upset, okay? I'm not upset. Honestly, I don't. And if he leaves, me and Dean will talk about the impact of if he leaves, okay? We will. But what are this? Because I think that's where people are like, people at an all-time rate don't trust the media and things like that. So what are the sources?
They won't name their sources, and of course they won't, or they'll never get any inside information again. As you know, is Hawk Central, Chad Lysico, which I know how you feel about him, so I'll just keep going. Rob Howe, Hawkeye Nation, and I know how you feel about him, so we'll keep going. And Keith Murphy of WHO News and Sports and News in Des Moines. Those are, as much as I know you don't like a couple of those guys, they are reliable. They do have their inside sources.
Real quick on that. I just find them boring, to be honest. That's really the biggest thing. And then Rob Huff, I do think he talks too much politics. But I've gotten into, obviously I've been dragged into that. And so, I don't dislike him for it, but, again, I just think when you talk sports, you just talk sports. So, but yeah, with Chad, I do goof on him about being, boring, just the talk like this and just do it, Spencer through the football kind of way, that. But anyways, go ahead, Dean. So those are good sources. You're right. Those are good sources. You're right. All right.
So it had been speculating because we've heard these rumors since even before the season ended that CJ was gone. Because when he was off on his 4-game stretch with his I'm going to call it a bone spur because I don't know how to say plantar fasciitis or however you say it, but in his foot, it's basically a bone spur, and because I've had it. And so people were speculating that his parents weren't happy about the way things were being handled, and they wanted him closer to home. And, of course, Kentucky's only like 60 miles or something from his home in Cincinnati. And so that was speculation then. And then later on, this past week, a little while ago, or maybe it was during the season, I didn't catch it all, that CJ's dad himself told the Kentucky board going to be a big announcement. There was something coming that they would appreciate. CJ's dad said this. Okay. All right. And then this morning, Patrick McCaffrey tweets in his account, and his exact words were, "What's done in the dark will come to light." And he either blocked or deleted CJ from his Twitter account, as did Connor. So here's the deal. There is some illegal tampering going on with Kentucky. Because this is...
I'm pretty sure...
Okay.
Let's just pause right here. I'm pretty sure from what I look... And by the way, folks, I'll be honest with you. I don't dive into all of this stuff. I really, really don't. And I'm not saying that if you do, that there's anything wrong. It's just I just want to say that but from what I read, the guy who did the tweet for Kentucky, he deleted that tweet apparently, which I don't know. It was kind of my overall point, which is that all of these cryptic things. I just kind of find it strange to read into it because at the end of the day, it either will happen or it will not.
Okay.
The last thing I'll say, and then I'll give it back to you, Dean, is that the only thing I said to you, I never disagreed. I think he's likely gone. Okay. I think that there's just too much smoke here. But the only thing that I said, which, by the way, and I did say, on your Facebook post that it really surprised me. I mean, Connor McCaffrey got too many minutes, folks. Too many. And it does not surprise me as someone who played Division I water polo, if I had to sit behind a coach's son who is not better than me, it would bother me to no end. And that's a fact. That's a fact. Now, is that the end-all, be-all? I don't know. Okay? I don't know. But really the only point I made to you, Dean, was that, let's just call it HC, got it all wrong about Tyler Cook, got Isaiah Moss entirely incorrect, because there was all the stuff about, the Iowa program is done, this and this, because, there must have been so much friction inside the program, and then that just turned out to be furthest from the truth. The reality is that programs, even ones as stable as Iowa football and Iowa basketball, are always fluid and they're always changing. And then there's some other things that me and Dean need to discuss, which is the transfer portal, how it is changing the face of basketball, which I said a couple podcasts ago when I heard Roy Williams, something about Roy Williams basically saying that the business of college basketball had made him be done, that this whole new era of college basketball just made him want to be done. And me and Dean will get into that too. But that's really it. That's really it for me, Dean. But I do want to talk about two things. The impact if CJ leaves, and then two would be what college basketball is now. So yeah, but let's I want to clear this. I think that I'll say this. I think all the evidence points that he will probably move on.
Okay. Well, I just want to point out that.
All right, Dean, go ahead.
The rumors have been hot and heavy since March, the beginning of March and everything. And you and I were the first among to just, hey, no, there's nothing to it. Don't listen to that crap. And okay. So now it's looking more and more like that maybe CJ and his dad have been talking to the head coach. I forget his name. I know he's a big gun. I can't remember why. I can't remember. Yeah, they must have been talking to Kentucky behind Fran's back, which is what I think Patrick McCaffrey's tweet has to say, is that you went behind our backs, made this deal, and now you're going to leave us high and dry when my dad thought you were coming back. Well, guess what? We're going to make sure that any little ill doings you got comes to light. And I think that's kind of like in a nutshell in the one sentence that he said. That's what he's saying, is they're going to make sure that if there was some illegal tampering going on before he officially entered the transfer portal, that that comes to light. And I hope Kentucky gets it. I hope Calipari and Kentucky go down for it. That's illegal recruiting.
Right. Me too. I agree. I agree with all of that, Dean. Listen, schools like Kentucky and Duke and all of them already have enough of an advantage. Plus, you're tampering like that. That's just dirty. All right. So,
Okay.
but I want to rein this in here. Okay. Because we talked about the rumors and all of that, but that'll lead us in like 400 different directions. I want to just discuss really quickly the impact if this turns out to be true. And again, it has not been made official yet. Let's dive into the impact, and then secondly, let's just start, and then what college basketball is, and I want to start there. I said this a couple of weeks ago. College basketball is with what happened with Corona. People don't like Corona anymore. It's got to be COVID.
But it's the coronavirus. Yeah, right.
Yeah. But I just like saying, I don't know. I like being goofy. But at the end of the day, it is changing. And Corona changed it big time. And I always did like what Fredrick Caffrey did, which is he would go and I'm not sure he was ever rewarded for it, Dean, to be honest, which is he would go on the recruiting trail and he would say, basically, if I want you, you will be a part of the program, and no outside transfer guy or whatever. I will always, let's use Bakari Evelyn as an example. When Bakari Evelyn came in, Fran Caffrey 100% stood by Joe Toussaint and the guys that he recruited out of high school, and I admired that. I think that is the correct way to go about things. Now, at the end of the day, Division I sports, you got to play who needs to play to win. Unfortunately, now with C.J. Fredrick, it's looking more and more like maybe we could use J-Bo. That's just a side note. But anyways, but Dean, this whole thing is changing, and I don't know if the right move is for Fran to fully commit to the change, meaning that he needs to become an active recruiter in the transfer portal, or if he just stays pat and keeps doing what he's doing and keeping the guys that he has, develop them and do what they do. I don't know what I mean, the evidence suggests that what he's been doing is the correct move, to just stay with your guys and things of that nature and, go to them. So, yeah, what do you think on the new landscape of college basketball?
Honestly, I don't like it. It makes it too easy for players to transfer out,
it's terrible.
Because now they've got that one-time transfer rule where you no longer have to sit out the first time you transfer out. And so players now, if they get a little butthurt or a little upset or somebody offers them a little more playing time, they're out. They're not even going to wait for the grad transfer anymore. Remember when that used to be just a big grad transfer thing, and now it's becoming, it's come too easy. I mean, we've seen several Iowa players this season go into the transfer portal. The biggest name on us now would be CJ if he does indeed go, but we've already lost Nunji. We've lost.
Really? You think CJ is the bigger name than Jack Nunji?
Because even if Nunji would come back, I don't believe Nunji would be the force that Luka was. I believe that our go-to guy next year would be CJ, especially with Weezy, and I fully expect Weezy not to come back. But if he does, more power, because we could certainly use him back now more than ever next year. But I don't think he's coming back. And like you said, with J-Bo, this might open up the door for J-Bo. Maybe Fran openly recruits J-Bo now because he needs a shooter. I don't know.
I don't know Yeah, I don't know if he even needs to recruit. I mean, J-Bo, his heart is in Iowa City. And, listen, my article that I wrote about him was not personal. There was substance behind it, which is that the guys that Fran had needed to develop, plain and simple. Now, let's move to let's move. The face of college basketball right now, it's not good. It's not even a special thing to go into the transfer portal anymore. And we said that last podcast. But really quickly, if he leaves, what is the impact?
The impact
this Iowa team
is, I think, honestly, the impact is going to hurt because I don't know where the scoring is going to come from. Because we already know that, I mean, defensively wise, we know that Joe Toussaint, Erlen Udis, and Tony Perkins will give us what we need defensively. But none of them have proved to give us what we need offensively. Especially, I think Tony isn't he supposed to be an off guard, the number 2 spot normally? Yeah, well, he didn't show me much shooting this year.
Yeah.
Okay. And so I'm a little concerned about where the points are going to come from. Is we're going to have to rely heavily on Keegan and Murray. I mean, Keegan Murray and Patrick McCaffrey to give us our points. Because if we do, Patrick McCaffrey's going to have to learn to come in a little bit softer on that rim because he's coming in too hard a lot of times. Unless he can slam dunk it sometimes, I'm a little concerned that he throws it up there too hard. And I know why he's doing that because he's afraid he's going to get hit and miss the shot anyway. But take the hit and shoot the free throw. I'm not holding out much hope for this team to do. I think we're in a phase next year where we're a development phase, rebuilding year. Because I don't think Josh Gundele will be ready. More power to him if he's ready to go full-time next year. If we can just get 10, 15 minutes out of him next year, I'd be happy. And we've got, a rookie young guy who's actually underage because he'll probably be 17 years old when he hits the floor or maybe 18 when he hits the floor for Iowa next year. A center who, in my opinion, looks way too skinny. He looks more like a Adam Woodbury body-wise, way too skinny, and so he's not bulked up like Luka.
Mm-hmm.
And and Peyton Sanford. I don't know what we're going to get. People tell me he's not a shooter. He's not I don't know, is he a defensive type person? Because I know we did a whole podcast on him.
The best shooters in the country. I don't know who gave you that info. Oh, man.
He's slow and clunky.
Okay.
That's what they were saying.
6'8",
okay. All right.
3, no problem. So, I'm not mad at you, Dean.
I know we did a podcast when he first signed about it, and at that time, my memory about him was more fresh, and so with not having to worry about till next year about him, I just kind of put all that out of my mind. But he looks like he's going to play an important role next year, as is this new center that we've got coming in. They're going to have to play key roles, but I don't know where Fran's going to get help next year. He has to go to the transfer portal, and whether he likes it or not, he's going to have to find something. I don't know what.
Well, listen, and then let's move on to football after this, okay? Listen, I think that if CJ Fredrick goes, I think that Jack Nunge was a bigger departure just because of the depth and just how nice it is to have a center who can stretch the floor, can rebound, things like that. We still don't know for sure what's going to happen with Joe Wieskamp. Even if it seems one way, I mean, last week it seemed the other way. And, then all of a sudden he puts his name into the NBA thing, which we all knew he was going to do. It's funny because, Fran McCaffrey always jokes about this all the time. When Tyler Cook put his name into the thing, people were like, oh, he's going to the NBA. And then Fran McCaffrey was like, wait, hold on. No. We all knew he was going to do that. He should do that. Nothing. Just because you do that, that doesn't really change anything. Now, I don't know with Wieskamp. We'll see. If he's a first rounder, he'll probably be gone. But again, don't know for sure with Wieskamp. Now, Iowa has a nice nucleus of 6'8" guys in Patrick McCaffrey, Keegan Murray, who will be Iowa's top scorer. Even if CJ had come back, Keegan was going to be Iowa's top scorer. Simple. We still don't know how good what's the brother's name? Chris Murray. We don't know how solid he is. My guess is he's probably a lot similar to Keegan. And if he can give similar stuff to what Keegan gave this past year, that'd be great. And it wouldn't shock me if he actually gave more because, he was coming off of that. To me, that's not the issue. I see a massive possibility for guys like Patrick McCaffrey, Keegan Murray, Chris, to develop during this summer and take a massive step forward. Joe Toussaint as well, or Aaron Eulis to take it, or Tony Perkins and take a massive step forward. As I've said many times, we don't know how guys are going to develop and what they are going to be when they come back. To me, by far the biggest thing is, and I don't know how Agunda is developing. It may be great. It may be good. It may be average. We'll see. Time will tell. But right now, Iowa could use 100%, just another 6'9" body, to throw down there that we know can score. And if Iowa can get one of those guys, I still think I wouldn't put this as a rebuilding year. I see this Iowa team, the offense that Fran McCaffrey runs, they'll be able to score. The difference is, will this next Iowa team defensively that they can be and do things that way? So I would not call this rebuilding. Yes, there's key pieces that are leaving, but I want to say this last thing on CJ Fredrick, okay? There were times where CJ Fredrick looked phenomenal, okay? But also, if you look at the totality of his time at Iowa, and by the way, he's not gone yet, but if you look at the totality, it's not like Iowa is losing an all Big Ten shooting guard here. He was solid, but, folks, he had 0 points against Oregon in the round of 32 game. So, I'm just putting it into perspective. It's not as it would had Tyler Cook transferred, that would have been a massive deal back then. You're losing your top guy, an all Big Ten caliber guy. CJ is not that. Again, I'm just trying to word this right because he has not officially declared. And I don't think he would have been that guy next year either. And if he stays at Iowa, I don't think he will be that guy. I think Keegan or Patrick will be the top scorers, or even maybe Joe Toussaint. I don't think Joe Toussaint. But yeah, Dean, I just don't think. I think CJ is a good role player. I really do. If this turns out to all be hoopla and he stays at Iowa, I would be happy about that. But would it be the worst thing in the world if he left? I don't really think so. I don't look at it like losing Joe Wieskamp if he goes to the NBA, or Luka Garza. Those are way, way, way bigger losses. As I said, Dean, Luka Garza and Joe Wieskamp were the only guys that were not, they were your top guys. Everybody else was interchangeable, and hopefully Fran gets that going in. Anything else you want to say on that, Dean? Because I'm done. That's all I want to say.
I didn't realize we'd go as long. I know this is supposed to be a special podcast about the open practice, so yeah. Oh, good. We need to talk about this, honestly. All right. The Iowa Open football practice.
again, I wish there was more content. Iowa, why not? Why not have your website televise the whole thing so that fans can see or something like that? That bothers me. But anyways, okay. Outside of that, just me being me. Me and Dean were going to do this yesterday, and then something happened, on my end. But Dean, I'll be honest, I struggled to do this when there wasn't a lot of film on it, and then finally there was, a credit to Hawkeye Nation. They put out the film, so I'll give them credit where credit's due. And so I saw the videos, and I think there's a lot of good things to take away. But I'll let you begin. Okay. Well, let's start with the quarterbacks. Let's start at the quarterbacks. Dean, go ahead. Let's start with the quarterbacks. You give your thoughts on the quarterback play. Okay. What you saw, all that.
4 quarterbacks. So some of these are going to be my own opinion, and then there is the opinion of others who were actually there. By all rights, people who were there say Petras did not have his best day. And early on, they were saying Padilla looked like he was challenging Petras because he came out strong early. As the film will show, though, when you watch the film, Padilla didn't keep that up. He did tail off.
No, he did not.
And according to Kirk Ferentz afterwards, the battle right now is more Padilla and Hogan for number 2, and so he's not willing to commit Padilla to number 2 anymore. What I liked about Hogan when I saw on the film, and you may have saw this too, is when a lot of times Hogan would just take the ball and run with it, just right up the middle or something with it. That's what I like, because we haven't had a quarterback willing to do that since I think C.J. Beathard. I was going to say Fredrick. Sorry about that. But I think Beathard was our last quarterback who wasn't scared to take the ball and just tuck it and run if he had to. And so that's why I like Hogan. I think the future's bright with Hogan. I don't, Petras is our man for the next 2 years. If Hogan's willing to stick it out, Hogan will be our starter for his final 2 years at Iowa. I like what Hogan brings. Yeah. He brings some of that Brad Banks mentality to the thing. The last quarterback, I can't even say his name, but his first name is Connor, but begins with a K. He's definitely a number. Yeah, from what I saw on film,
Connor
he struggled a lot.
He
is a walk-on, so he's, I think he's more of a scout team quarterback, which I think, is not above, is not grading him, because I think that's what he is. He didn't look great in the film that I saw. So, yeah, but I mean, each one of these guys had their moments, hitting some good passes. Petras got intercepted a few times, and my boy, linebacker, Logan Klemp, who's playing as the number 2 linebacker, he had an interception, but I believe it was off of Deuce Hogan. I have to go back and look, because I did some research, because nobody was talking about Logan Klemp in any of the reports. So I had to go out and nail people who were there and ask them if they watched Logan Klemp. And they said he played pretty well.
I like Klemp. I really do. I think he'll have his time as an Iowa linebacker. I mean, Dean, just on a side note here, by the way, a real big side note, the views and listens that the podcast has gotten, Dean, since we did the video is just, and it's crazy. We should have done the video way sooner, but that's on me. But yeah, I mean, it's gone up a lot. So, anyways, all right. I just wanted to say that. And thank you, fans. You guys are awesome. Here's the deal. I believe Padilla ended up going like 10 of like 18, like something. It was either like 6 of 12 or something. He only completed half of his passes.
I got it right here.
Yeah, 6 for 12. That's what I thought. And Spencer Petras, I believe, went like 12 for 16 or something like that.
You were close. You were close.
12 for 18. There we go. Thanks, Dean. Yeah. For me, folks, I'm just going to be blunt, okay? I know a lot of people want this little quarterback push, okay? And it's obvious. I mean, geez Louise, when you pulled up Twitter when Padilla, did what he did, people were about ready to have a seizure there. I mean, it was crazy. And it's not, I don't dislike Padilla, okay? But I just want to put it all into perspective here, okay? Dean, when Jake Rudock and C.J. Beathard were battling, and even Stanzi and Christensen. Well, actually, it was Stanzi and somebody else. It wasn't even Christensen. Christensen was gone at that point.
No, honestly, I think it was Christensen. He just seemed gone because as soon as he lost the job, just like Rudock, he took off.
Right. Folks, C.J. Beathard was pushing so hard in practices that the coaches literally were like, we have 2 starting quarterbacks. He was doing so well that is what they said. They always said that we have 2 Big Ten quarterbacks, 2 Big Ten starting quarterbacks. It took C.J. Beathard 3 or 4 games, because of a Rudock injury or whatever, to come in there and to take the starting job. He earned that starting job. Padilla right now is not even close to that, okay? This open practice thing, we're not hearing from the coaches that, anywhere near the kind of verbiage that we heard from that. And also, even if we did, Padilla would have to earn it like C.J. Beathard did and Ricky Stanzi did. That's what the Iowa coaches do, and I like that. They make the guy earn it and take it from the other guy. To me, Dean, it is clear. Spencer's the top guy. I mean, the way he throws the football, how comfortable he is in the pocket, it's just so fluid. It's easy. Now, was he balling out there? No, I'm not going to say that. He wasn't. Did Padilla do well when he came in? Yes. I mean, he threw one dimer pass that I was like, wow, that's it. That was a rip. And I'm actually excited about what Padilla is capable of. To me, Dean, it is clear. It's Spencer 1, Padilla 2. Padilla, in my opinion, is clearly 2. And then Hogan is clearly 3. I think that's what it is. It's based off of what we saw. It is Hogan 3, Padilla 2, and Petras 1. But if Petras gets injured, what you and me both saw, I'm actually confident that Padilla would go in there and do what he needed to do to get us a victory. Now, I feel good about that at this point. Is he really battling to push Spencer? No, he's not there yet. He just isn't. But, Dean, looking forward, it would be possible that Spencer, if Padilla decided to stay, that, Spencer did his thing, and then Padilla had his 1 year to start, and then started, and then, it was Hogan. Because that's how, if all 3 quarterbacks stayed, that's how it would go. And let's not forget, there's a 4th quarterback coming in, 4-star Ohio guy. But yeah, Dean, look, to me, it was clear. Spencer is the guy. I know. Let's put it this way. I think people were so frustrated because there was a lot of hype around Spencer. And you see some of the throws that he's capable of making, and then you saw some of the easy throws that he didn't make, and you were just like, I think you'd go crazy. And towards the end, Dean, him balling out. You remember the back shoulder fade to Amir Smith
I was just going to say
Wisconsin?
I think
come on.
people
Go ahead.
would be pushing for Padilla or Hogan. I think they're pushing for Hogan more than they are Padilla. But they wouldn't be pushing so hard for the backup quarterback had Iowa had got the chance to play their game against Michigan and Missouri, because I fully believe Spencer was starting to come into his own. He was starting to roll. Would he have been perfect in those other two games? No. But I think people would say, wow, man, he carried us to blowout wins over Michigan and Missouri, because I don't think anybody thought that those were going to be losses. I think everybody thought they were going to win, and I think everybody thought they were going to be blowout wins.
I'm with you, Dean. Those two games would have been huge for the Iowa team and for
right.
Spencer in particular. I'll say this. I like Padilla. I do. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and say I don't. To me, he is clearly in front of Deuce Hogan. From what we saw, he is clearly in front of Hogan. I am not in favor of Hogan's pulling down because in the open practice you can't tackle the quarterback. So it's you don't know how accurate the tucking and running is. I wanted to see Hogan stand in there strong and deliver a pass. And he did sometimes, but it was not to the same degree with Padilla and Petrus,
right.
Just the comfortability in the pocket. Can he build that? Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, I think go ahead.
August, by the time we get to the Deuce Hogan will be our number 2 quarterback. I saw
what are you?
I mean, I saw some flashes in the thing, and like you said, yeah, they can't tackle the quarterback. All they can do is touch him, and so we don't know how good of those tuck and runs would have been. Yeah. Would have they been in a live action game? Would he have been nailed at the line? Maybe.
Right, and he was going against third string.
I don't know. I just think there's more upside, because I do like the idea that he's not afraid to tuck it and run with it. And we'll see. I'm not saying that he will be, but I'm going to predict that he will be by the end of August. By the time they open up with Indiana, the first 2 deeps for Indiana will show Hogan as our number 2 quarterback, and we're going to lose Padilla. Padilla at that point goes into the transfer portal.
No. No. I'm telling you 100%, folks. Padilla is the number 2 guy. Hogan is going to have to wait a little bit. He just ain't there yet, and I don't see him being there.
That's fair.
Soon. So, yeah. No, that's fine. It's all good, Ian.
We'll see.
Nobody's going to crush you for that. Right. All right. Let's move from the quarterbacks. And you know what? I was my closing thing on the quarterbacks. I was happy with what I saw. Usually, I mean, back in when it was Beathard and Rudock, I mean, you were just like, ew, what am I watching? This is terrible football on the offensive side. It wasn't so much the case. Let's move to the receiving core. Tyrone Tracy, wow. I mean, Dean, you and I both times that, I said that I thought he could have pushed Brandon Smith to get that spot because he was just that good. Either way, that's done. But, and here is now, in my eyes, he is the most naturally gifted. This is how recruiting goes, okay? Especially when you recruit a guy like, or somebody at wide receiver, okay? You go and recruit a guy like Brandon Smith, who is not as naturally gifted as far as, like, having good hands and things like that. Not saying he didn't have good, but he has the physical tools. He, 40-inch vert, 6'3". You get that type of guy. Desmond Hudson's pretty similar. He's a basketball guy, and, you just look for that athletic frame. Then you get a guy like Amir Smith-Marset, who is just so athletically gifted, but he's maybe not as sharp in the route running that he needs to be and things of that nature. And by the way, Amir Smith-Marset had he had a spring and Spencer had a spring with him, I think Amir Smith-Marset would have been an all Big Ten wide receiver. I mean, the reality is the guy that was hurt the most probably from all of that was Amir Smith-Marset. I mean, he almost lost money because of just the connection just was not there. But, that's the second type of guy that you try and go find. You go and try and find an athlete and you hope that they are going to work hard down the line. But they don't always do it. And we saw that with Amir Smith-Marset. Sometimes he worked hard, sometimes he didn't. Then you get a guy like Tyrone Tracy, who is just naturally gifted and has a strong football IQ and just makes these freak plays. Not saying that Brandon or Amir couldn't do that. And that's what he is to me, Dean. And he is by far the most naturally gifted wide receiver that Iowa has. That they have gotten in a long time. He can play all of the wide receiver spots. And I'm excited about it, Dean. I'm excited about it. Last thing I'll say, and then I'll turn it over to you with the wide receivers, is, I would have liked to see Nico Regani, a.k.a. Nico Raggiani. I would have liked to see him. But, the true freshmen, it looks like they're ready to go. And it looks like Charlie Jones is ready to go too. They're ready to go. It would not surprise me if Iowa, Tyrone Tracy is the top guy. Nico is the second. They go with four wide receivers. That would not surprise me. Go ahead, Dean.
Tyrone Tracy showed his explosiveness, his speed, and excuse me. Okay. So there's no doubt he's our number one receiver. The top three receivers for that day were also Charlie Jones, as you mentioned, and Keegan Johnson. So we don't really know what Charlie Jones can do at receiver yet because all he played last year was punt return, which he's going to do again this year. But he looks like he's figuring into the mix for receiving. And according to Kirk, Keegan Johnson's definitely figuring into the receiving aspect, playing games next year. People were showing that he had smooth movement. He runs polished routes. And he actually looks like kind of a David Bell type of receiver. Now, that is a compliment. That is a compliment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's very physical. He's physical, too. And he's well-built. Yeah. He is ready to go now, Dean. He's ready to play, which is
that's my prediction when I wrote about him coming in, that he would play right away because he's too talented to keep off the field.
Yeah.
And you know that on special teams, they were using him as a gunner. Did you know that? And
I heard that, which is pretty cool. That's pretty cool. That's a way to get on the field. Yeah. That's a way to get on the field, as Kirk said. Arlen Bruce, I just wanted to say this as a side note. And by the way, Sam Laporta looked great. I am so excited to see what he will do. He looked great. Honestly, Dean, I think Josiah Neiman and Luke Lachey are closer than people even know. If you look at the pictures, Josiah Neiman is
we'll find out May 1st
and getting reps. He made a mistake. Right, exactly. Great point. So we'll see with that. But either way, Sam Laporta is the top guy. The thing for Arlen Bruce with me is, they compared him to the guy on the Kansas City Chiefs, Tyreek Hill. Problem is, he's not as explosive as Tyreek Hill. He's explosive, but he's not. I mean, there's only one Tyreek Hill on this planet. I think Iowa is going to have to find ways, because he's only about 5'10", to find ways to get him the ball in face to make plays, because outside of that, you're not. I don't think you're necessarily going to see Arland Bruce going up and getting 50-50 balls and things like that. I mean, Dean, I do see Arland Bruce as who is the Purdue guy again? Not David Bell, the other one.
Last year. Was his last name Johnson or something?
Just crazy talented. Gosh,
I know who you're talking about.
Tyrone and the Purdue guy that I'm talking about are by far the best comparisons. But yeah, I do think that there are some things that Arland Bruce is going to have to figure out for himself to become his own player. So we'll see.
I got all right.
Go ahead, Dean.
We're on his name, then we can move on. Okay. The thing is because he played all of it Saturday as wide receiver, they do consider him a wide receiver first. However, that's it. Yep, that's it. The guy never saw the field last year, even though he declared himself eligible. Okay. All right. So Arland Bruce, Iowa could utilize him as an all-purpose back. Those who saw him in person when he was in high school said he was actually more effective and a better running back than he was a receiver. And he was also a quarterback in high school, in Kansas, not in Iowa, when he played in Kansas. Okay, Kansas City. So somebody saw him on a special teams throw the. I guess he was doing returns or kick return practices on special teams.
Yeah.
Somebody saw him throw a tight 40-yard spiral back to the coach, where the coach was standing next to the machine to feed the ball back. And remember that he did play quarterback. And you remember I predicted on a couple of podcasts ago that I think he might run the Wild Hawk a little bit and actually maybe throw a little bit out of there. And I know it's Wildcat.
Yep.
Technically Wildcat.
I like
we'll call it the Wild Hawk. Okay.
Wild Hawk. Dean, I think the only reason why we didn't see the Wild Hawk is because it's preseason and Iowa doesn't want to give the film out to make no mistake. Film that's out there, teams will use it and see, especially for the first game for Indiana. Iowa will do the same thing. They'll go back to Indiana's thing. So Iowa was only using basic formations.
Yeah, I think.
But Dean, I'm with you 100%. If not being at the back, he will be wasted. That will be wasting his talent.
I agree. This guy, I look as an all-purpose back. We can see him throw some balls, run the ball, catch a few balls, and I don't think it's beyond possibility. But nobody mentioned this, doing punt or kick returns as well.
Punt return, I totally agree. I can see that 100%.
We'll see how that goes, but I just wanted to throw that out there that I predicted it, and from what I heard about the weekend and saw with my own eyes, I think it's highly possible that he will, with Tyler Goodson sometimes wild hawking. I mean, I could see those two standing back to back, not knowing which one's going to get the ball.
Like that. Mm-hmm. No, we did say that, did we not? We said Tyrone Tracy on one side.
Yeah.
And, actually, we said Ivory Kelly Martin. But, just think of that, Dean. That is dynamic. It really is. And I'm excited about Iowa having that. Dean, when is the last time Iowa has had these type of options at the playmaking positions? Answer, never. This is the first year.
And that's
crazy.
Absolutely right. No, you're absolutely right. I would never say never. I mean, Hayden Fry had a couple of years where he had some very talented people, wide receivers, backs, and stuff.
Right.
But yeah. But I mean,
Andre.
Oh yeah.
Remember bit?
Yeah. No. Kirk's had some through the years, and his record speaks for himself. He's getting it done with what he has. But this, by far, I think, overall, from top to bottom, might be his most talented team that he's ever had at Iowa. And I think the ceiling's
Yeah.
very high for this team next year.
Totally agree.
We're going to go as Spencer goes.
Dean,
we're going to go as Spencer goes next year.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, I disagree with that last part, but I do agree with because Dean, yeah, I was literally about to make the comment. I was literally about to say you and I both know that Iowa goes as the running game and the defense goes, and then you said, which we'll talk about the running backs too here. We'll talk about the defense and the running backs. Let's just the last thing that I'll say here. Dean, we're in total agreement. This is top to bottom, and I've been saying that for the past couple of years, and quite frankly, I've been correct, even though they haven't lived up to the expectations. But yes, I mean, this team is super talented. I don't know if they're as talented as last year's team. They're about even, but they do have a higher upside because of the young guys. All right. I mean, and obviously we need to talk about like a position or something that maybe we were concerned with, but let's running backs. What do you think of the running backs?
Tyler Goodson is our number one running back.
Goodson was playing. Honestly, when I saw the tweet about him, I just cut Dean off. That was rude. But when I saw the tweet about him being wrapped in bubble wrap, I agree. Anybody who's familiar with the Howard Stern show, Bubble Boy, get that going. He needs to just be ready for the season.
All right. I don't have a problem with him taking a few snaps. I'm sure that he can take a majority of them, but he also has to get hit. He has to get his routes running. He's got a new coach in the backfield teaching him some things, and Liddell Betts teaching him a few new things about staying low, planting his feet, and things like that, because I watched the film where Liddell Betts was mic'd up coaching his running backs. But anyhow, okay. Yeah.
Not yet.
So anyway, I don't
Not
disagree
yet.
with Tyler taking some snaps and stuff, but he's clearly our number one, and we do need to protect him. But also for him to not get injured in the fall is to make sure he gets a few hits now, because he needs to get hit in practice.
What do you think of?
LaShawn
Williams. I agree with you there completely. I thought, their bodies, both LaShawn and Gavin, looked pretty good. And Gavin Williams was a lot more nimble on his feet than I thought he was going to be. I was pleasantly surprised. I'll say that. And that there's a reason he had a Michigan offer, plain and simple.
He'll do fine. If Ivory Kelly Martin is not able to go in the fall or never shows what he used to be, then I think Gavin will make a nice number two.
Right.
I gotta admit, on LaShawn, I was watching the film, but I don't think I ever really saw him run.
Go back and just look for number 4, and you'll see it. He was actually in there a little bit, but before Gavin was at times. I think that's a neck and neck battle. I really do. I think it's close. So we'll see. But yeah, go back and watch it and just look for the number 4. But do you agree? I think we're set at running back. We're good. Because, we're solid. What do you think?
We're going to go back. Probably the majority of the snaps are going to go to Tyler, but he's got a couple of guys behind him that are going to take a few snaps, and we don't really know where Ivory is at this point. We know that on the depth chart he is listed at number 2 and should be, but we won't know until August and September where Ivory really helps us or not.
Right. Last but not least, let's talk about the defense. I'm just not concerned about the defense, Dean. I'm not concerned about the D line. My biggest concern is the offensive line. That's my biggest concern. But the defense, Dean, we are so loaded on defense, and when you really think about it, that is why Iowa is, I fully expect them to be a top 15 team this year, because when you can defend the way Iowa does, it's just, you can beat anybody in the country. You can. And, John Wagner looked good off the edge. There was a lot of good things. The linebacking core looked good. It was nice to see, 4-star. It was nice to see him. And, the secondary is just loaded. By the way, I noticed this before, but I really noticed it today, because this is just when you play like a Division I sport, when the coaches focus so much on your body and things like that, that's how you think moving forward. And so that is how I think. And, I was looking at Riley Moss's physique. That dude is yoked, Dean. He is yoked, and his rear end is massive. And his calves are just thick. And folks, I know it's weird having a white guy play cornerback. I know it's weird. It is. Some of y'all will be like, "Oh, you can't say that." No, I can. But Dean, I think he is going to get drafted. He's that good, and he is that athletic. It wouldn't surprise me if he was 4.4, 4.3 in the 40-yard dash when it's time for him to go. But yeah, what are your thoughts on the defense? Here, I'm going to use the restroom, but give your thoughts.
When they started their 11-on-11 drills, the starting defense was where's I got that at? I got it right here somewhere. Okay, yeah. No, I missed it. Okay, I didn't get it. But so the injuries, the guys who should be there weren't there. So we had, I don't know, Jack Campbell and Seth Benson are looking good in the back. The D-line, I don't know. The D-line, from what I saw in film, it's a work in progress. It's definitely a work in progress, but I think the linebackers and the DBs are going to pick up the slack, because there was just too many defensive guys that were out with injuries to really give a solid take on it. But yeah, I thought they penetrated a little well. But the linebackers, they got in there and they were saving the day for the defensive line. And of course, we already know that the defense and the DBs are going to be play pretty well. And if anybody really wants to know about Xavier Williams, he's practicing as a second team cornerback right now. Let me see if I got that right. Is it right? I wrote my notes down somewhere, guys. I'm sorry.
Williams, it would not he is practicing at corner. It would not surprise me. He can play all of the secondary positions, but it would not surprise me. If Iowa didn't have Dane Belton, that would be Xavier Williams' spot. But he's gonna have to earn it. We'll see what happens there. But the reality is, there just isn't really a spot. Which sucks, because it's just like, this guy's so talented. Any other year we could really use him, and we can, we'll probably need him this year. But I don't count Riley Moss or Matt Hankins. I just don't.
Gone already. Are you sure he was on the field? All right, I thought he was gone already.
I'm positive, Dean. I'm positive. Okay.
My bad.
Yeah.
I don't remember seeing him.
I'm not mad.
But also not showing up Saturday where Terry Roberts and Matt Hankins, because they're both injured. Okay. So.
Right. Yeah. We'll see what we shall see. We'll see. Yeah, we'll see what happens there. Anything's possible, but just like the quarterback spot, Xavier Williams is going to have to earn that spot, plain and simple. So, he's going to have to be so dang good that, he has to play it. All right.
Yeah.
I think that's pretty much it, Dean. I mean, yeah, I don't really have any more thoughts. The open practice, you got to take it with a grain of salt. But I do think that there's some nice takeaways. For me, one, it's this Iowa team is just very healthy. Every position is healthy. As far as young talent and just having good, not having issues and things like that. Weirdly, the tight end room to me is like the one that's like, are things a little shaky there? I don't know. Maybe I'm just overthinking that, but yeah. And on that note, I do think Josiah Meeman is competing with Luke Lachey. I really do. He is an athletic. Go back and watch his film, folks. He is an athletic specimen. And Iowa will. And by the way, Dean, when we first read the news, it sounded much worse than it actually was. It still was not good, but it sounded much worse. I fully expect him to come back, and he will compete, and we'll see what happens there. What any final thoughts? I think we did good. I thought we were going to do this in an hour and 20 minutes.
Yeah,
but
that's
good. Happy about that. That's good.
What are your film clips that we saw because we weren't there, and other people's judgments? Which honestly is when we give you the other people's judgment, it's what they saw. Like I had one person tell me the running game sucked on Saturday, that it wasn't there. Okay, well. Other people say different.
Yeah.
And then there were the reports about Alex Padilla. Right. Other people, telling me, oh, Alex Padilla is having a heyday, man. He's going to push Spencer all over the place. Well, that didn't happen. And when Kirk got out there, he said the race is for the number 2 quarterback. Their number 1 is set.
Yeah. Yeah, that's very true, folks. I will be getting, here's the deal. For the call-ins, I would rather find something where people can just call, like a number that is connected to my computer or something like that, and then we can connect it onto this. I don't know if I'll be able to do that. We'll see. Where I'm at right now is just getting a separate phone and then just putting you on speaker, and then we'll see how it sounds. But yeah, I do want to let you guys call in. I think it's important to, just to have you guys giving your opinions and me and Dean having fun with it. And I think that's the way to go. So, yeah, I think I'm probably going to do that today, Dean. Yeah, but that's it. That's all my thoughts on the spring practice. I think my main takeaway is that Tyrone Tracy is legit. Spencer looked fine. I mean, Dean, come on. It was an open practice, right.
And, with a lot of starters not dressing or a lot of key people not dressing, you have to take away from it what you will, and that's all it is. You'll have a better look on May 1st, and like we said, then at the end of August, we'll know a whole lot more about this team at the end of August than we do today. Before we go, though, I want to give a shout-out.
Yeah, Mike.
I can't because I'm going to be going to Iowa 1 month later, so I'll be saving my money. Yeah, it'd be great if you can do that. That would be great. I want to give a shout-out to our Iowa women's soccer team for winning the Big Ten tournament yesterday. Man, what a great game that was, and I want to just salute them because they stayed. It's an example.
They had a terrible season, but
they won two
and it was awesome.
Season games. Oh, and they finished the season. Then they finished the season on a 4-game winning streak to win the Big Ten tournament title, and they're going to be going to the NCAA tournament with a losing record.
Oh,
yeah, but he said
right? It really is. Yeah. I mean,
he said in the interview afterwards that
What do you say, Dean?
The kids, they knew they were playing for the Big Ten title, but they did not know by winning it that they had an automatic berth into the NCAA tournament, because he said they had no idea that they were going to be playing for that, because he said, no. He goes, if you guys win this thing, we're going to the tournament. And I think that jacked them up some more, because they thought because of their losing record, they thought their season was done after this game.
Wow. That is crazy. I'm not gonna lie, it is crazy, but still, congrats. Season was regular season was tough, if not below average. But the the postseason, congrats, ladies. That's awesome. Iowa women's soccer going to the NCAA tournament for the second straight year. Dean, I think that's gonna do it for us. We're gonna wrap it up here. Thank you for joining me as always, partner. We'll see. I'm not sure. Yeah. Anyways, but folks, be sure to go to 247hawkeye.com. I want to Dean. I did that in my other video as well. Dean's been killing it in his articles lately, just dominating, and that's awesome. And we just love giving this content out to you guys. And live your life, enjoy your life, enjoy Iowa content, Iowa sports, and all of that good stuff. Be sure to go to 247hawkeye.com. Follow us on Facebook, Nolan Hawkeye Anthony and Dean Freen, aka Dean Frine. And smash that follow button on Twitter and Parler at 247hawkeye. And Instagram at official247hawkeye.com page. I'll put the links in the description, and you guys can find us on YouTube, Nolan Hawkeye Anthony. Dean, thank you so much for hanging with me. Pussy with all facts or feelings. Your feelings just don't matter. Love you all. Bye. Kisses.